Oh yeah, now my people, we are here for a brand new season of Round on the Ground with your guy, Kunle, aka the Nigerian Englishman, and my guy.
It's your boy Kanebi, aka Mr. Go Ball. You know what it is now.
And we are here on a once-a-week basis giving you the hottest takes on great football stories in Europe. Also, we're going to highlight some of the top African talents in the European leagues, giving them a little bit of more of a platform to see what they're into. But everybody in the football world, everyone in the world, Seth, you haven't been living under a rock last week, right? So you know what happened. Unfortunately, RIP Queen Elizabeth. As a result of that, it led to the Premier League games being postponed this week and potentially for next week. You think, obviously, with the Queen passing away, people might think, let's take a week off football. But football fans are football fans. The Premier League now, the Premier League, at the end of the day, people want their dose. But what do you think, Kanebi? Do you think the game should have been postponed or do you think they should have gone ahead?
First things first, my condolences to Queen Elizabeth. I respect the dead. RIP to her. But for me, I missed football this weekend. It was a boring weekend. And for me, I felt they should have kept the games on. They should have used this opportunity to celebrate her greatness, to celebrate her legacy. Put her on the screens, wear black armbands, sing the anthem as many times as possible. But for me personally, I felt they should have not cancelled the games.
But look, at the end of the day, if you look at so many, especially in the UK, because we're not there, there's people where the Queen has been their only constant in their life, right? She has now passed, and as a form of respect, the Premier League said, let's postpone the games. Don't you think it's the right thing to do? It's the Queen of England, for goodness sake.
For me, they should have celebrated her. It's not the right thing to do because you have a World Cup coming up. You are going to congest the fixture list. Celebrate her on the screens, do the anthems, and move on. Rest in peace to her, but it is what it is. We have to, other shops open, rugby union went on, cricket went on. Why is it the Premier League that has been affected?
You're right. And the problem with these fixtures getting cancelled is the congestion.
Yeah.
As you said, the World Cup is coming up.
They're going to burn out the players.
Where are they going to build the players up? It's a lot. But one thing that Arsenal fans would be excited about is the week off means Arsenal spend another week on top of the league.
Oh, you mean maybe another month? It might be another month.
You never know. Obviously, there was a lot of outcry from the Arsenal-Man U game. They said the first test for the Gunners, they choked. But in hindsight, they are still top of the league. And that's one thing that we should be excited about. I mean, Arsenal fans should be excited.
Arsenal fans right now, yes, they're excited. They are feeling good. But let's not get carried away. I'm speaking like an Arsenal fan, but I am an Arsenal fan. But they should not get carried away because we're still fresh into the season. You still have October coming up. You have Brentford, you have Chelsea, you have Tottenham. You have Leeds, you have Man City. So this next few games is going to really be the main test. For me, other tests against Manchester United is rubbish for me because Liverpool lost to Manchester United.
There's a lot of tests. There's a lot of tests still to come this season, but I'm not gonna lie, Manchester United out of nowhere have put together a 4-game winning streak
with boring football. Man United have been lucky. But yes, they have been on a good run, but they have been lucky. They didn't really play well against Southampton. Arsenal missed chances against who else did they play? Liverpool were not.
Forget that one. At the end of the game, it was 3 points to Man United, 0 to Arsenal.
But for how long will it last? We saw against Real Sociedad, they lost with their style, with their counter-attacking football. It cannot last for too long. You have to one day dominate games. This is Manchester United we're talking about. We're not talking about Stoke City. This is Manchester United.
I hear you, but look, for me, as much as I don't believe Ten Hag is going to do a lot of great things this season with Man U, I still think they'll finish 6th. We've always got to keep an eye on Man United because, as you said, they are Man United. Another club that we definitely have to keep a close eye on right now is Chelsea. What's going on there?
Well, Chelsea, right now, they are looking like, I think Todd Boehly thinks he's running a baseball team. Because I don't understand what is going on. You and your coach, you people sat down in a room. You people assembled players together. You had a plan for the summer. 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after a couple results, you sack him. You should have given the man time. You should have given the guy time.
Yes and no. So for me, I've always said Thomas Tuchel. I believe the Champions League has put him in conversations he has no right to be involved in. That's what for me. And for me, I believe he spent 100 million last year on Lukaku. He spent over 200 million in the summer. Yes, maybe he should have been given a little bit more time. But at the end of the day, he's killing players at Chelsea.
But look at it. He won the Champions League. He won the Club World competition. That has bought him time. He finished third in the league last season. That should be enough time. That should be enough. That's giving him time. To be honest with you, Chelsea right now, they're in a state of transition. You are bringing in a Graham Potter that took 3 years to get Brighton to where they are. Chelsea is not a club that gives time. Is he going to do the job? He's not experienced enough.
But previous to Todd getting there, that was the Chelsea regime. Hire, fire, 18 months max you can get as a Chelsea coach. But with this new regime coming in, maybe Todd just wanted to start with his guy. You saw what Roman did when he sacked Ranieri, even though they finished in the Champions League.
I agree.
So this might be the same thing.
I agree, but this is football. This is not basketball. This is not baseball. You sat down with a coach. You decided to be sporting director, head scout. You guys bought Cucurella, bought Aubameyang, bought players that he favored. You are now sacking him, bringing in another manager that you don't know whether he's his players. Will these players respect him? Because Graham Potter to me is inexperienced compared to Tuchel. Will they respect him? You are playing matches every 2 to 3 days. Where is the time in the training ground to implement your system and your philosophy?
I hear you, but when it came to Chelsea, I believe it was a kind of lose scenario because I didn't see Tuchel making them finish in the top 4 with how things were going. I didn't see him fixing it to that stage, even though he had a lot of new players. But on top of that, as you said, with Graham Potter, let's not lie.
It's dicey.
Like, it's one of those...
It's dicey.
Those areas of...
It's dicey.
The state of the unknown.
It's like getting married to a girl after 2 weeks of dating her. And you don't know what you are going to expect.
I hear you.
That's the way I see it.
But with this Premier League, so early in the season, managers seem to be the hot topic of conversation. And let's be honest, nobody expected Thomas Tuchel to be the first manager, the second dismissal after Scott Parker. A lot of fans right now, after what happened in the last few weeks in the Premier League and the Champions League, some people are saying things like Klopp out. Did you think you ever hear something like that?
Well, I never thought I would see Klopp out, but I think Liverpool are at the point whereby they reached their prime last season. They were in 3 finals, and they were in all competitions. They were going to the end to win. And when you reach your prime like that, and you achieve, let's say, 50% of your objectives, there's going to be a diminishing return. You're going to calm down. You're going to slump. The midfield is older. The defense is older. The only creative guy they have there is Thiago. Salah is not doing what he used to do last season. He needs money. Mane did a lot of work behind the scenes for Salah that we don't see. Firmino is not in his best form.
So who do you think takes the bulk of the blame here? Is it Klopp? Is it FSG? Is it the players? Like where
I think Liverpool got too comfortable with their squad. That's the way I see it. They got too comfortable with their squad. And Man City don't get comfortable with their squad. Man City revamp. They just bought Haaland. They revamp.
They got Nunez, a 100 million player, didn't they?
But Nunez is still finding his ropes. He's still learning the ropes. Luis Diaz, yes, he was there to replace Mane, but Mane is Mane. You can see that. Without Mane, they are a different side going forward. Luis Diaz can't do what Mane does. Luis Diaz spends so much time in the wing. He's not in the box to affect opposition like Mane does. Mane affects opposition in key areas in the box. But Luis Diaz doesn't.
If you go into the Liverpool thing, a lot of their fans were telling us it was the right time for Mane to leave. It's the end of an era here. It's time to cash in on him. Do you think they're now understanding you cannot just sell an African nations champion just like that and replace him?
I think it's one of the worst transfer decisions they have made in the last 5-6 years because they didn't value the boy. Yes, Mane wanted a new challenge, but I felt that if you had given him a bumper contract, he would have stayed. Maybe even if it's 2 more years. They didn't value the boy. They valued Salah more. And we are seeing that Mane is the missing link up front. They miss him a lot.
100%. And I'm glad you mentioned the Salah thing because we've noticed Mo Salah has not hit the heights of last season, whether assists-wise or goals-wise. Liverpool won a game 9-0. He didn't get involved in any of the goals. I think now the role they're asking him to do is different because Nunez is there. So I believe Klopp is to blame. And especially when it comes to that Champions League game where Liverpool got destroyed by Napoli. It wasn't just a small thing. They got destroyed by Napoli. 4-1.
Oh, shout out to Osimhen, our very own Osimhen. He was torn in the defense. I mean, he disturbed Van Dijk all day. Well, to be honest with you,
45 minutes he did. Anyway.
People won't really see that result coming. The four was it 4-0 or 4-1? 4-1. People won't really see that result coming. But from the past weeks, I mean, they struggled against Fulham, they struggled against Newcastle. Going into the Champions League, Napoli saw Liverpool was there for the taking, and they took advantage. Simple as that. And the Champions League is not about club form. It's not about season. It's about how you perform on the nights. And unfortunately for Liverpool, they were not ready.
And I believe you can tell that teams have been watching Liverpool this season because they seem to know the weak point. Right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold. We were talking about he's a revolutionary right back before. Champions League has overexposed him. He's not the guy that they think is. And Napoli, they sit pretty, not only in the Champions League group, but also top of Serie A, which we're going to talk about. But I believe that's just like you said, Liverpool were there for the taking. And in the Champions League, you can't be sleeping because teams are going to attack. And that's what Napoli did.
Yeah.
And there's a team that haven't struggled when it comes to the new signings. That some people are like, oh, they lost players. They're not going to be able to replace them. Liverpool are going to challenge. But this team, Manchester City, they bought a particular striker for a particular competition. And that's this competition. And since that boy has played for that club, 12 goals.
10 games.
2 coming in his first Champions League game for Man City. As in, what can we say about this boy?
He's a goal monster. And you know the funny thing about Haaland is, he doesn't score pretty goals. He gets them in tappings, headers, shots.
Off the shin.
Whatever, volleys. He is about goals. He's not about making the goal look pretty. He's about putting the ball in the back of the net. And what Haaland brings to Man City is a different dimension. A different kind of killer. A different kind of footballer that the midfielders can just sit back and be creative and do what they do. They don't have to focus on scoring goals because they know they have a number 9 who is lethal.
Yeah.
And for me, yes, they are favorites to win the Champions League again this season.
Favorites.
They are favorites. According to the bookies.
There.
According to the bookies, they are favorites to win the Champions League this year. They're always favorites. And I see them going to at least the semi-finals this year with the kind of team they have.
And you know what? This Haaland guy could be the missing link to what they were waiting for, because I always said that it was the 9 that was missing when it came to City. In the final against Chelsea, I believe Aguero should have started that because they needed a 9. And just last season, they were missing the line in the crucial points. So they need to capitalize. Champions League, I mean, there wasn't any real major upsets in the Champions League last week. I mean, the routine teams won, like Bayern, Real Madrid won their game, PSG won their game against Juventus, which we'll talk about Juventus a little bit later. But we can't pass the Champions League without highlighting the big game happening this week. The biggest game of the Champions League, Bayern Munich versus Barcelona.
Lewandowski goes home. Lewandowski goes home.
Lewandowski, yes.
Is Lewandowski going to score a brace, a hat-trick, or 1 goal? We don't know. For me, this is revenge for Barcelona. They lost 8-2 the last time they met. It was a different Barcelona team with, of course, Messi, Rakitic, and Busquets, so on. But now Barcelona is a new team with Rafinha, with Dembele. They're very young. They're very vibrant. They look like a new team under Xavi Hernandez. And it's going to be a close game because Bayern Munich, right now, in the last 3 games, they haven't picked up maximum points in a row. 3 games in a row, no maximum points. This is going to be one we need to watch.
Look, if there was ever a time for Barcelona to capitalize on a situation, it's now. They lost their last game against Bayern 8-2. Barcelona, a Messi Barcelona 8-2. So you know that if I was the coach, I'd just be showing that video in training every day this week because it's a big game and it's their chance to pounce on them. Barcelona have ridiculously good attacking options right now. I believe there's no excuse for Xavi in terms of picking up a major trophy. But as you said, Bayern Munich, is it just a patch when it comes to Bayern Munich in the league right now and they'll figure it out? Or is there something that we should be worried about in this Bundesliga?
But guess what? You see, the Bundesliga is a funny league. Before December, Borussia Mönchengladbach, RP Leipzig,
All
they will
these
be on
teams.
top.
Uh-huh.
Once after December hits, the likes of Thomas Muller start scoring, they go top of the league and they win the league in March. That's how it always goes. But Bayern Munich this year, they don't have Lewandowski. So maybe that fear factor is not there anymore in terms of when they play in the Bundesliga. But for me, they're still a dangerous team.
You're right. The Bayern thing kind of reminds me of, remember Man United of old? They used to pick up after Christmas and go on a really big run. And I believe Bayern will do that. They had their youngest ever scorer in the Bundesliga this weekend, 17-year-old Mathis Tel. So he'll be excited about that. And hopefully he can carry that confidence into his next game. But in terms of the Bundesliga, we have to say the biggest result was the 3-0 win for RB Leipzig against Dortmund, where, if you didn't know, Marco Rose was
He won his first game.
He was the former Dortmund coach. And the irony of he's won his first game 3-0 against his old team, I mean, it's a great result. The likes of Szoboszlai is really starting to step up his game as well. Nkunku as well. I know you're a big fan of him. And I can't see him being at Leipzig beyond this summer.
Oh, fantastic player. Fantastic player. And I would like to see him in the World Cup with Mbappe.
100%. The Bundesliga is a very strange league. There's going to be a few different changes in the top for up until Christmas. I mean, right now, Union Berlin are top of the league. And I don't think anybody in Germany believes that's how the league's going to end. But we'll never know. Bayern are definitely going to go on a run. They've got Mane there, so anything is possible.
I would like to see a different winner, though. It's been,
of course,
I like to see
it's getting pretty. It's a monopoly over in Germany right now. But another league that there's a little bit of a monopoly in is Ligue 1. I mean, there's been a few in the last 10 years. I think there's been 2 other winners. I think Lille won it and Monaco won it at one point.
Yeah, I think Montpellier. I think before we signed.
Before. So over the last 10 years, it's kind of been dominated by PSG. And they continue to do PSG things. They've got the most money in the world. They've got arguably the next best player in the world in Kylian Mbappe.
They have the greatest player in the world.
And Messi as well. So they just did another routine victory. Neymar got the winner. That's his 8th Ligue 1 goal this season. So he's top of the charts there. And as you've seen, great players, as they get older, know how to adapt. And that's something that I have to give it to Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Even though Ligue 1 isn't the biggest league in the world, he's now an assist
he gave for Neymar. The funny thing about that assist, he tried it the first time, it was offside. Yeah. The second time he tried it again, he scored. Messi is greatness. There is no other way to describe Messi. He is greatness. 7 assists, 3 goals this season so far, and he keeps on marching on. I hope we can see that form in the World Cup.
100%. And we need to see this PSG team now perform in the Champions League, because Neymar's move to PSG, Mbappe's move to PSG is wasted unless they get that Champions League trophy. I want to give a big shout out to our Super Eagle, Moses Simon. Unfortunately, he was on the losing end when it came to the Nantes versus Lorient game. They lost the game 3-2, but he scored a goal. So far, Moses Simon, Super Eagles international, he scored 3 goals and 1 assist in his first 5 games.
That's not bad. That's four goal involvements. So 5 games.
So what more can you ask for? It's a bit annoying, the fact that Nigeria not going to be represented at the World Cup, where we could really see what he's capable of. But there's a lot of international fixtures coming up, so we'll be able to see them on the Super Eagles level.
Yes, sir.
La Liga for the last how many years has been Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona. And guess what happened this weekend? All those teams won again.
Yeah. It's a normal oligopoly. That's the word I should use, oligopoly. Because those 3 teams, they get the most money in TV rights. So they always sign the best players, and the rest are just bottom feeders. So that's how it's always going to be.
Lewandowski, I heard that he came to La Liga to challenge Benzema, because a lot of people have the debate who's the best number 9. And I can't wait for El Clasico this season because of that matchup.
If Benzema is fit.
That is true. Because Madrid played their first game this season without Benzema. They won the game convincingly 4-1. It doesn't matter, talisman or no talisman. They're getting the job done. Yeah. And there's a particular player that I just want you to just give me a couple of points on, is Vinicius Jr. I mean, I believe last year was where he really started to get on people's tongues in terms of his dribbling and his end product.
Yeah.
Do you see this is the year that he really lights up the world and lights up the World Cup?
I think he's been lighting up the world since last season. I mean, he scored the winner for Real Madrid in the Champions League final.
That's true.
That alone should tell us that he is somebody that is on the rise, he's on the up. He can be a future Ballon d'Or nominee. And I think for Brazil, they have a Neymar replacement in him.
Mm-hmm.
And he can only get better. For me right now, he's the best young winger in the world. I don't see any winger.
Best young winger in the world.
I don't see any young winger better than Vinicius Junior right
Comment
now.
section. Let us know what you think about that. Who's the best young winger in the world? I'd like to know.
It's facts. I don't see any left-sided winger right now. He could even challenge the likes of Mane because he's putting those. If you look at his goal involvements with Benzema last season, it was record-breaking. And for me, the boy can only get better. And what I like about him, he's not your typical Brazilian player that just dribbles. Mm-hmm. He's direct, he's precise.
And he has an end product.
Exactly.
And that's what every manager needs. Someone with an end product. And it just seems like the faith that Madrid put in this player over the years is now starting to pay off.
Yeah.
We thought it was just the Premier League.
More.
We thought it was just the Premier League. But when it comes to VAR, there's stories everywhere.
VAR is a mess.
Kanebi, we were together watching the Juventus Salernitana game last night. And it was madness. First of all, Salernitana at the Juventus Stadium took a 2-0 lead. That's madness, number one, against the mighty old lady.
Yeah.
With Allegri back at the wheel as everyone was celebrating. But Juve came back, a 91st minute penalty.
Yeah. That
Bonucci first missed, and then he scored the rebound. 2-2, I'm thinking the game is done. 94th minute.
Milik scores. And the goal is disallowed. There's a big drama.
But the stadium's going crazy. He takes off his shirt, goes into the fans. He gets a red card for a celebration. Allegri gets red carded because they're checking the goal. Then the goal gets disallowed. And the reason the goal gets disallowed for me, this VAR thing is really getting to me, Kanebi. I don't know about you, but I just want consistency.
Yeah. I
just want to be able to watch the same thing in a different game and know they're going to give this. They're not going to give this.
Yeah.
They're going to give this. But are you at that place right now with VAR?
My problem with VAR is the people who make the decisions in VAR, I don't think they know anything about football. Because the way football is going now, they are trying to kill the physicality of the game, the aggressiveness of the game, the fact that you have to go in for every challenge, you have to win the ball 50-50. And for me, it's killing the game. For me, VAR should be focused on offsides, penalties, definitely, and handballs.
That's it.
VAR was brought for offside rules, to be honest. That was the main reason why we brought VAR, for offside rules, not a foul leading to a goal or
this extra.
Do you understand? It's turned into a sideshow.
You're right.
It's turned into a sideshow, and it has taken a lot from the game. And if you look at the Premier League is the worst sideshow of all.
Every weekend there's an incident.
Speaking of Juventus should have never been in that position. They're having a bad start to the season. They are 19th in Serie A right now. Juventus are in transition. Nobody knows where Juventus is going. But
I have a question about Juventus because a lot of fans across the top clubs in Europe were screaming Massimo Allegri. He's the guy we want. He's the guy we want. Is it that he's gone into the Mourinho segment where he's declining in terms of the maturity of the game, or he just needs time?
I think Juventus need a new philosophy.
Okay.
I think Juventus is still a mundane team in terms of they still play the old school way. They want to be neat at the back. They want to be solid at the back. It's more about the result, not about the performance. In football now, it's all about the performance. And Allegri, for me, he's in that old school category. I think
questionable tactics.
They need fresh blood. They tried to do with Pirlo, it didn't work out, but they need somebody fresh.
I agree, because if that doesn't change, the old lady are going to struggle to get into the Champions League even this season, because Napoli are top of the league right now. Without Victor Osimhen, who's injured, hopefully he'll get back very, very soon. 1-0 win on the weekend. Also, the guy seems to be aging like fine wine, Giroud. His CV, as he gets older, his CV just keeps getting better.
Yeah, with the help of Rafael Leao, AC Milan are looking like a very good team.
Another 2-1 win for them, so they're joint top with Napoli. So just to wrap up the show, I want to make sure that we're putting highlights on the top African performers across the European
Definitely.
leagues
Shout out to
this
my
season.
African brothers out there doing well.
Always, because I don't think the international scouts are doing enough. But players that really did a great job in their leagues. First of all, Moses Simon. Unfortunately, he was on the losing team, but a great performance by him. He's one of the candidates for African Player of the Week. Also, Andrea Anguissa. He's on the back of 2 victories for his team, Napoli.
Oh, he had a brilliant game against Liverpool.
Incredible
game. Bossed the midfield. Some
people say he's better than Declan Rice. I'll leave that for the comment section. But he had a great game, a match-winning performance against Liverpool, and also
he scored a goal.
He scored a goal, and that's not what he's known for. And also, he was very pivotal in their 1-0 win on the weekend. And from the Eredivisie, where we don't really talk too much about, we had Mohamed Kudus.
My boy.
He plays for Ghana.
I'm a big fan of Mohamed Kudus.
Big player, very, very good dribbler.
I'm a very big
He's
fan
doing really, really great things right now. He had a brace and a man of the match performance for Ajax over the weekend. So we've got Mohamed Kudus representing Ghana and Ajax.
Scored a screamer though in the Champions League.
He stays scoring screamers if you keep watching him. Check out his highlight reel. We've got Andrea Anguissa representing Cameroon and Napoli. And we also have Moses Simon representing Nantes and Nigeria. If you'd like to vote, make sure you just leave the hashtag that's going to be coming on the bottom of the screen and just put your name of your nominee, and we're going to announce the winners at the beginning of next week's show.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, now, my people, there you have it. A first episode of Round on the Ground with your guy, the Nigerian Englishman,
and your boy Kanebi, aka Mr. Go Ball, Go Ball, Go Ball.
And catch us same time next week with all your football news. Let's go.